Hi everyone, Hugh Williamson, Senior IT Architect within Fujitsu, and welcome to our podcast series called Hack the Future, where we discuss innovation and tech that's reshaping tomorrow. Today, I'm joined with Ben Wu from NetApp, and in this episode, we're going to discuss hybrid cloud optimization and how we drive maximum value and efficiency that delivers business outcomes.
I'm Ben Wu, Executive Architect from NetApp. My primary goal is to help our partners and customers maximize the value of data strategically. So most organizations struggle with data management and data governance and struggle to quantify the value of data in their organizations. We're going to go through some of the challenges that these organizations might come across today.
So to set the scene, hybrid cloud has almost become the default model today, and IT leaders are now asking, where's the return? So simply moving VMs from on-prem up into cloud is not enough anymore. We need to now look at those efficiencies and where can we optimize in the hybrid cloud environment.
Well, it's pretty clear that organizations have stumbled across hybrid cloud largely by accident. And what's happened is that we have a traditional IT department that is being overwhelmed with requests. We have users that have now tasted the cloud and have the same expectations of the cloud as they do with on-premise IT. Yet cloud costs are exploding because as they put more workloads in the cloud, there is little to no governance around the cost of cloud.
Exactly right. So IT leaders and IT departments are being asked to do a lot more with less and also make it count. So where we identify some of these inefficiencies, I see is really in 4 key areas. The zombie VMs and orphaned snapshots. So zombie VMs has been a term in the IT industry probably around nearly 10 years now. They still exist. So, a project team may request a VM to be spun up to do some proof of concept testing or application testing. And because that VM's not moved into operational land, it doesn't have focus on it. It's probably not patched or monitored either. And if there's multiple projects running, these compound and add up over time, as well as orphaned snapshots. So the example here is monthly patching. The ops teams will take snapshots of all the VMs and disks, and someone may request, hey, can we leave that snapshot around for a day or two or a week? And again, these add up over time, and the visibility is lost on them. So the second one is duplicate data. And again, we see this all the time. Users take copies of folders, databases, storage snapshots, and these add up, and no one really revisits them to say, hey, we need to do a cleanup here.
Well, this duplicate data and these duplicate or zombie VMs fall under a category which we call rot. So it's not just zombies, it's rotten zombies. So rot means redundant, obsolete, and trivial. They're components that take up space and take up resources, but have no business value. And over time, as those build up, because organizations have a tendency not to want to delete data, they'll hit a value wall quite suddenly sometimes. And then the perception is IT don't quite know what they're doing, which actually really isn't true.
And the third one, the real budget killer, is single-tiered storage. Probably a few years back now, all flash arrays, they came out into industry and everyone thought it was great. We'll just put all workloads on this. But as data scales and the explosion of data, it's no longer feasible. You've got to assess and look at where the data's living.
Well, that would be like having an Uber catalog with only Uber Black on it. So if I want to take my family out for a nice dinner, I get an Uber Black. If I want to move 5 tons of bricks from my brick supplier to my building site, I get 5 Uber Blacks. Now, that's going to make the seats very dirty, and someone's not going to be very happy about that.
So you love the comfort of Uber Black, but it's not really suitable for that.
For every purpose, yes, correct. So then I get the financial controller ringing me up and go, why are you always taking Uber Black?
Yeah, correct. So I guess the fourth one is workload misplacement, and this is really the big one. So as IT architects, we often ask the business and the application owners, how critical is this application? What performance does it need? And generally the answer is always, it's very important, critical one, needs to go on premium tiered storage and compute. So that's where it's put at the start. Mm-hmm. And everyone's happy, it's running fine. But over time, the budget and the costs start to add up, and no one really loops back around to get the insights and the visibility to say, hey, this could actually be moved into medium tier or even low tier because we can see the utilization with that visibility.
Yeah. So for any application, the business value of the application actually goes through a life cycle. And as it changes, so it may become more critical or less critical, it may demand more or less performance. If there's only one tier, it's impossible to create sustainability and efficiency in that environment. We actually need to provide optionality so that users can choose the most appropriate levels of capability and cost for those workloads, especially as they grow. And some workloads do grow dramatically. So if you think about AI workloads, often the temporary copies of data can be 10 to 100 times the size of the source data. And that could be petabytes or exabytes of data.
And so you and I, if we dive a bit deeper into a customer example, we worked on with a particular customer and identified a lot of these inefficiencies from files that hadn't been accessed in 3 to 5 years or even modified in 7 years. And these were running on single tier premium storage. And the other inefficiencies we found, some of these zombie VMs, if we can touch a little bit on that part of the environment with the customer.
Yes, we found some VMs that were actually not being used at all, but still running and consuming compute and storage, adding no business value whatsoever.
And so part of this process, we workshopped through all their pain points. We looked at their future roadmap, and that really wraps the advisory service around the whole assessment piece when we're looking at hybrid cloud assessment or an advisory service.
Yeah, so as part of the advisory service, we started with understanding the business context. That was a critical step. So without that business context, it's very hard to provide the right kind of advice, even if we know the insights from the environment.
And then we can implement these powerful, smart, policy-based controls without manual intervention. So we get those efficiencies, the visibility, the insights, and these controls to tier different levels of workloads automatically across the storage arrays.
Yeah, so it's environment scale from 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 workloads and terabytes to petabytes to exabytes of data. It is vitally important to have a finite set of policies to manage all of those elements. That way it allows an organization to scale without creating inefficiencies and resource limitations in their IT team.
So we're talking optimization here, but not full-scale transformation. It's about those little increments and adjustments that add up a lot of value and deliver business outcomes over time.
That's right. And what we found is that as a result of most of our assessments, most customers now are no longer willing to go on the journey of a big bang transformation. It's just too risky because they are so critically reliant on digital technologies. So we've found that those customers actually are more comfortable with an incremental journey. It's about choosing which increments they want to start with.
And speaking of journey, the NetApp Fujitsu partnership has been going on 26 years this year, and Fujitsu has the advisory expertise, the industry knowledge, and the managed service, and combining that with NetApp's industry excellence in storage, insights, and AI and optimization, it really is a great partnership.
That's right, Hugh. Over the last 20 odd years, NetApp has started with the rock solid core of storage technology and built on top of that the intelligent data infrastructure, which provides that data fabric that organizations can leverage to smoothly and quickly set the right policies to optimize their environment and align their workloads to business value.
So Ben, what's the next steps a customer could take?
Okay, well, the first step is to be able to get together and understand a little bit more about the customer's business context. All right, so it's very important to understand that context and how IT supports the business strategy. The second step is then to use a tools-based approach to gain deep insights into the workloads and the environment. And that will then inform what we do in the next step, which is a collaborative workshop. That third step is that collaborative workshop where we get together with the customer and talk about the insights and explore. And what we find is that that actually a lot of the good insights and innovations can pop out of that conversation, that aha moment, and what we then do is take those concepts and put them into an actionable plan that leads to concrete business outcomes.
So as we start to wrap up, do you have any final thoughts?
Well, let's go back to where we started. This session today was about hybrid cloud and value. Now, hybrid cloud is not the end goal, right? Value or business value is the end goal. And intelligent optimization of the hybrid cloud is the journey to achieve that business value.
So if our conversation or any of the topics we've discussed today spark any interest, or whether you'd like to go on an advisory assessment service or a deeper strategic conversation, please reach out to either Ben or myself. We'd love to hear from you. Ben, thank you for coming in this morning and having a chat. It's wonderful having you.
Thank you, Hugh.
And I hope all our viewers have a great morning. Thank you.